two Puerto Ricans and a black girl. Today we welcome the founder and co-founder of the Pembroke Temporary Art Film Festival.
There you go.
Fisher-Kemp and Andrea Meshel. I am the Dope Widow.
And I am the Love Guru.
And I'm the Lifestyle Diva, Mimi. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi, my sisters. Founder and co-founder.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, ladies, tell us a little bit about your art film festival. I'm curious. This is the first time I heard of this art film festival. I went on your website and I was so impressed with all the films that were being projected. So just tell us a little bit about what you guys are working on.
Well, so the festival is a social justice festival. It's focused on, and it's global, so it's international. So we get films that deal with injustice from all over the world. And this year, usually we have a theme for our festival. And we have films that are specific to that particular theme. But this year, because of the pandemic and we're going online, I decided not to do a call for entry for a particular thing. We're just going to screen some of the films that we showed from the last 4 years.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, because our festival is small, a lot of people don't get to see a lot of these great films that we have. And, these filmmakers aren't known as of yet. So, because they don't have the celebrity behind them, a lot of their films aren't necessarily out in the marketplace in that way. So I wanted to give them an opportunity for other people to be able to see them again, because they're worth being seen. Some of these films are so amazing. So I wanted to give them an opportunity for it to be seen again. So that's what we're doing this year, is kind of going back and picking some of the best films that we've screened. We have a few new ones, like from filmmakers that we've worked with in the past. They've submitted other films, so we're showing that as well. And we have the Self-Care Hub, which we always do something about taking care of self, because we find that people in the activist space or even in the artistic space, when you're doing art, not for commercialism, but for art's sake, where you really are passionate, you always put yourself last. You spend all your money on your work, or you're out there in the trenches, boots on the ground, doing that work, and you don't take care of yourself. But we always try to do something in the festival that speaks to self-care, whether it's for the people, the filmmakers, or it's for the audience. So we have that this year, and we have some amazing people. Dee can tell you about some of the people that's coming to our Self-Care Hub this year, and hope you guys will join us too.
Yes, absolutely.
What I love about the festival this year, I love the festival every year, but this year, I think that one of the good things that has come out of the pandemic is that the world has gone virtual. The films, these amazing films that we have, it's not just the people in LA or the people in New York who can see them, but now we're able to show these films globally.
Right.
One of the great things about the festival being virtual this year, I'm really, really excited about that aspect of it. I'm really excited.
You took my question, since I was going to ask you. So how is this film festival different this year, because you guys are virtual, and it's a two-parter. So I know that, knowing the two of you ladies, I know why you did this film festival this way, but what made you guys go with social justice as your your catalyst for a lot of the films that are presented, and how is it doing everything virtually now?
Well, for me personally, doing the film festival on social justice is just my passion. Like, I married my artistic, creative filmmaking desires and my legal training and passion since I was 7 years old for, wanting to see people be equal and wanting to see those that are underserved, rise up, kind of thing. So it's a marriage of two passions of mine for this festival. And quite honestly, when I was thinking about doing a festival, I had a lot of ideas. Initially I wanted to show films that were made by people in the diaspora. So that was my initial thought, that I was going to do films that were people in the diaspora, because even though there are a lot of Black film festivals out there, they weren't necessarily global in that sense. And I wanted to do something that was global, because I'm a Pan-Africanist. I believe that, we are all coming from the same place, and we need to come together. And that's just something that I believe in. And I wanted that to reflect in the films and things that I did. But the more I looked at the other festivals that were out there, like the Pan-African Film Festival, the American Black Film Festival, and some of the other ones that have come after those festivals, I think they do a really great job of let's say, mining those talents, those African talents or African American talents, and then people in diaspora, especially the Pan-African Film Festival. And so I didn't want to do, and then I just thought about the things that I want to do as a filmmaker. I want to make films that show injustice, that show that we can find ways to make solutions to these things.
Right.
And so I wanted to, create something based on what I would want to see as a audience member, and more of, because we don't see enough. And then I thought about the fact that, all the things that we're suffering, injustices that we're suffering, it's not localized. It's not just an American thing. Domestic violence is not an American thing. It's a global thing. Lots of women across the world experience domestic violence. Why not do a festival that brings humanity together in that way, and show how different, because filmmakers kind of reflect the culture, they reflect the world that they live in. So we learn about our cultures and different cultures through the films that we see, through the music. The artists are usually the reflectors of the society, right? So that was a way for us to kind of get a glimpse at what others were doing in their country, how they were dealing with domestic violence, how they're dealing with LGBTQ issues, how they're dealing with racism, how they're dealing with sexism, all of those things. So that's the main reason for the social justice aspect of it. And long-winded way of answering that. But as it relates to this year, one of the great things about it is, like, usually we've had a couple of festivals where people from different countries, like, for example, last year, one of the films that was in the festival was from London. And they happened to be in the city, so they were able to come to the festival because they came out to AFM, which is the American Film Market, to sell the film, which it was in our festival first, and it got sold, so that was a good thing. And the film, so they were here to sell the film, and they got to come to the festival, and they were so happy, and that they could do that. And Dee, when we had the festival in New York, the woman from No Destination Home, she came from Germany. So, but most of our filmmakers can't get to come and see the film and see how the audience is responding to it. Now they get to watch it and see it because they can log on from anywhere.
Right. See, people don't see the bonuses in this whole, virtual world that we're living in now. Like everybody can be connected and woven together and everything. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
For me, actually, the festival had been going on for 2 years before I got involved.
Okay.
Meshel happened to come to New York, and she gave me a call. She's like, let's get together and catch up on old times. And then she said, I've got this social justice film festival. And you guys know social justice is in my DNA.
Right.
I want to be a part of it. Like Meshel, social justice is something that I'm passionate about as well. And also being a minister, social justice is one of the fundamental issues in the Bible. You have prophets such as Isaiah and Amos and Micah who, they raised their voices on behalf of the poor, the oppressed. and the marginalized. So it's something that we need to do, and we need to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. And what better platform than to have artists?
Yes.
There's power in art and all of the genres. There's power in it. And that's one of the great things about this festival. We're the only social justice festival. So it's just a beautiful thing for artists to use their voice and to, to just speak out against the injustices in the world. So it's a great thing, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'm excited about it, and you guys know how passionate I am about it.
I know. I'm scared. I'm scared for the folks. With y'all two strong women, I know both of you. I used to hang with Andrea and Meshel like she was my road partner.
Yes.
You're my sister. I know you women are strong in your opinions, and rightfully so. And you guys are passionate about social justice, and I think that those two things together are awesome. So what I wanted to say is, this year, with all that's going on in the world, with Black and brown people, how has this film festival been impacted?
Oh wow. Well, I almost didn't do it. There were days where I was literally just crying because it was just one thing after another, and I was just like, this is just too much. And then speaking to a couple people, Dee and a couple people, they're like, we should do it. We should just keep doing it because it's needed, right? And the great thing about it is that some of the films that you'll see in the festival this year were made during this time.
Wow.
So some of the films that I went and like curated, got people, was like, yes, let's do this. They were made during COVID. They're relevant to what happened this year. So it's going to be really good in that way, because we were able to capitalize on that moment and help these filmmakers get their word out in a timely fashion, so they're not waiting till next year to tell these stories when it's necessary now.
Right.
So that's one of the
question. How do you guys showcase? How do you guys choose what films get showcased into your film festival? What is the process?
In general, what we do is we do a call for entry. So we advertise to filmmakers on a platform called Film Freeway. And the filmmakers go in and they see what we are about. We tell them what kind of festival we are, what we're about, what we're looking for specifically. And the filmmakers then submit their films. Generally, I have a panel of judges that watch all the films and determine which films we then screen. I take an active role in that because I like programming the festivals. So I also watch all the films and make sure that, they meet our criteria. And sometimes I'll disagree with the judges and we'll go back and forth as to why it should be there and why it shouldn't. And then we come to a decision. We usually come to a decision where it's correct for the festival. Because I'm like this. We're not trying to be Sundance. We're not trying to be Tribeca. We're trying to give filmmakers a voice, a platform. So yes, some of the films may not be, $1 million caliber, but it has a message. And that's the most important thing for me.
Right.
If it's well done, well acted, the story's there, and it speaks to what we're about, then I want to showcase it, because I believe these filmmakers deserve a voice. And we're not a lot of those other festivals tend to be a little political as well, with the names of the directors and the names of the all of those things. And I don't want us to be like that. I want us to really be open to that filmmaker that really has a story, regardless of if they have a name or not. We're open to people who have a name. That would be, that's awesome. We had a film in our first year with Akon. Akon was a producer in one of the films, and he was also an actor in it, and he did a great job. And he actually came to the festival. You know, so we've had named people in our festival as well, but that's not a criteria for being in our festival. You know, so yeah, that's the most important thing.
So I do have a question. I wanted to touch a little bit on something that Deidre had mentioned. And so my question was, since the inception of the film festival, have you noticed an increase in the amount of people of color that have taken an interest in shedding a light and speaking against a lot of these injustices with, as far as homelessness, sex trafficking, the abuse? Have you seen that young adults, people of color, have become a little bit more involved?
That's a really great question. I can't say that there has been a rise in that in terms of our festival. It's quite possible that there are more young people taking an interest and doing more within filmmaking space to do that, but I can't say that that's necessarily reflected in the materials that I see that come across our festival desk and screens. But I do know that lots of young people are doing more with their iPhones and things of that nature. Like you see a little bit more on Instagram and stuff like that. But are they making films necessarily in terms of the younger population? I think there are people doing it. Like we have a film in our festival from this young filmmaker named Stefan Bristol. He's a New Yorker. And he was mentored by Spike. And he has a film on Netflix called See You Yesterday. You guys should definitely see that film. He's doing a workshop in our festival this year called How to Make Your Short Be Your Calling Card. Basically, it's taking your short film and how to use that to make your feature film. Okay. So I see more, I would say I see more of that on the streaming services, like on Netflix and Amazon. So the bigger companies are putting more money into that necessarily, but they're not, I don't think young people are necessarily, you know, making those types of films. I think the production houses and the streaming services are, when the filmmakers are bringing it to them, they're picking those projects more now, so, as a matter of, you know, fact.
Okay, good.
Matter that you,
we can't hear you, sis.
can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay.
Now speak loud.
I have to speak louder.
Yes.
They're probably making films, but not on the subject matters that you mentioned.
Okay.
They may not be making films with that content.
And then it could be also that, like how Meshel was saying, that some of, if you don't have, you know, quote unquote, a name, then people are not recognizing you for your work. What I wanted to say to you, Andrea, is as an artist yourself, I know you're an actress. How does that affect you in your screening of the films?
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm definitely a little bit more critical of the acting in the films, but I try to put that aside at times when the message is there, because it's not about, it's about the totality of the project, not just one aspect of it. You know, so I think I do a good job of putting aside my biases, especially since a lot of the films too are foreign, right? So a lot of we get, I want to say, like a large percent, we get most of our films from the US, but the other country that we get a lot of our films from is Iran.
Wow.
Yes, we get a lot of films from Iran. In fact, there's a film in the festival this year about a transgender, a young girl who wants to, you know, have a sex change, and she's in Iran. Now, when you think of Iran, you don't think of transgender.
Not at all.
Exactly. So this is one of the reasons why I think it's so important for us to really, you know about this festival, because of things like that. We get to see how other cultures are dealing with this. Now, I wouldn't say that film has the best acting. But the story is there, and the fact that it is exposing us to transgender in that society and in that community, it's important.
How many films are showcased in the film festival? Do you have a specific amount that you choose?
It varies. I say this year we have about 40 to 50 films being screened, a lot more shorts than features, because we tend to get a lot more short submitted than feature films. It's easier to make a short in terms of budget and finances than it is to make a feature film. So people generally start with short films, and new filmmakers generally start with shorts.
Okay.
So yeah, but we have about 40 to 50 films being screened.
That's a nice amount.
Yeah.
And so besides the screening of the films, and what else was it? I think was a wellness section that you guys said you had. Is there anything else that people can expect from the festival?
Oh yeah, we have 5 panel discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Dee. Dee was about.
And they're going to be really great. We have Chuck on one panel.
Okay.
Chuck
Yeah.
moderating the panel with Aviance and Kyle, and they have an organization that they created during the pandemic to help young people keep their craft, hone their craft, and keep their craft thriving during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a very devastating time for artists.
Yep.
Especially Broadway actors.
Yeah.
Really, really trying time that in the midst of the pandemic. And so one of the great things now, once again, is virtual. They can start doing things virtually in the meantime until things open up. So there's a panel discussion that Chuck is moderating about young creatives creating during the pandemic. And then we have industry panels.
Yeah, we have 2 industry panels as well. And one of them deals with colorism, ADOS, and Hollywood. So basically, we're going to be talking about, actors and people within the industry and how colorism affects them. And not only are we talking to African American actors, we're talking to Latina actors, and we're talking to a Southeast Asian actor. So because colorism, it affects all of those cultures, we always, when we think of colorism, we think light-skinned, dark-skinned Black people, but it goes beyond that. Colorism affects so many other cultures, and especially in Hollywood. When you think of novellas and a lot of Brazilian television or Latin television, you don't see dark-skinned Latinas on the. Exactly. You don't see the Afro-Latina is not represented. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And then we're going to be talking about, when as the industry opens, because it's opened already. Some places are already filming. But as it opens, what does that mean for us as, I don't like the word minority, but of people of color in the industry, and the new initiatives, the Oscars are saying that there's going to be diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion doesn't necessarily mean Black and brown people. It includes women, it includes LGBTQ, it includes all kinds of things that's not necessarily reflective of us and our need for representation. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then we have a panel of people, as Dee said, this time was really difficult. So we have a panel of people who created projects during COVID, who remained, because basically a lot of people got depressed. A lot of artists got depressed. A lot of people could not create. But these people were able to create, and it's moderated by a casting director by the name of Riza Brahmin Garcia, who has a really big studio out here in LA, a big acting studio, and they do great big casting jobs and things. And she's moderating that panel.
That's awesome.
Going to be on that panel. Regan Sims?
Yeah, Regan's on that panel as well. And then we also have, besides the panels, we have one more panel. We have a panel about achieving peace locally, nationally, and globally. So we're talking about after the pandemic, after November 3rd, how do we kind of get to peace and maintain it throughout in our own communities as well as across the country and then globally. And we have a Buddhist priest on that panel. He's a professor at USC, and he's a priest as well. Then we have a chaplain who used to be a gang member, and he's now a chaplain. His thing is from menace to minister. That's his little catch thing. So he's going to be on the panel, and then we have some local activists, and we have Jamal Wilkerson. He's in politics.
I'm familiar with him. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So he's in New York. So
Okay.
we have those people on the panel. Thanks to Dee. And then we have open mic, which is going to be dope. Yes. We have open mic. Is going to be 2 sessions, one for East Coast Central because of the time difference.
Yeah.
And one for international and West Coast people. So you got to check that out. We have some amazing artists on that.
New York DJ, LA DJ. So.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, we have some DJs. They're going to be playing all conscious world music, all conscious reggae, hip hop, African beats, but it's all conscious music. No,
None of this. None of this.
Now, you can probably still twerk, but they won't be using the N-word and they doing all of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have some DJs that
your dates. Give everybody your dates. Tell them where they can log in.
Yes. Okay.
The 8th. So next Friday it starts.
Yes.
November 6th through the 8th. And you're gonna register on filmocracy.com.
Mm-hmm.
So it's filmocracy.com. You're gonna register there to in order to enter the festival. And then once you have your ticket, you'll be able to roam around. And it's a festival village. So when you enter, it's gonna be a map. If you look on the website on the first page, you see that map. That's what it looks like. So we have the stage. When it's time to go to the open mic, you hop over to the stage, you click on the stage, it opens up, and that's where you'll see all the performances. You want to see the films. We have two buildings for the films. One building is where the films will be screened live. Mm-hmm. So you'll watch it in real time with other people. And then the other building has all the films on demand. So you can watch any film you want at any time there. And then you have the panel discussion building. You hop over there to the panel discussions. You hop over to the self-care hub. So everything that we have in the festival has its own space.
And so are there like different passes? Like is there day passes? Is there all access passes?
Yes. So there's a one all access pass for the festival. That's $30. Mm-hmm. And then we have each day pass is $15. So each day pass, you'll get access to everything that's on the platform, all the films. And the first day we have the panel, one panel discussion. We have the self-care hub all day. We have an opening DJ that's going to be opening up the festival with some world music. And then we have the workshop with Stefan Bristol. That's going to be an amazing workshop. And then we have the open and night film. So that's a full day, for $15. You get all of that.
I'm sold.
And then if you pay $30, you get the entire 3 days. So it's
right.
When does it begin?
It starts at 12 noon. So 12 noon for us, which is 3 p.m. for you guys.
Okay.
And then on Saturday, that's the day we have the open mic. Okay. So the open mic is on Saturday. So that's going to be dope. It's going to be a party. We're going to have a film that was created during COVID. It's called Zoom the Movie. And they just got picked up by Amazon. And we're screening their film. We're the first festival to have their film. We're screening it. They just got picked up by Amazon, but it hasn't started running on Amazon yet. So we're screening it. So it'll be a world premiere with us.
Awesome.
And then we're going to close out the festival with the party, with the open mic and the DJs.
So that's November 6th through the 8th.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then say the website and all your social media tags again.
Sure. The website is www.ptaff.org, and that's where you can purchase your tickets and see all the trailers for the films and, you know, things of that nature, and all the self-care things. And so, and our social media tag. So Twitter and Instagram is at PTA Film Festival. And on Facebook, it's PTA Film Fest.
Okay.
So, yes.
And do you ladies do anything else throughout the year, or it's just the yearly film festival?
For now, it's just the yearly film festival. The goal is to be doing other things throughout the year, but we're still growing, and we need a lot of help. So if there's anyone out there that knows marketing, that knows PR, that knows grant writing, we need all of those things. We have so many ideas. Go ahead, Dee.
We need a web designer.
Yes, we need someone to help us maintain the website. And a social media person to help us with our social media, because I'm doing all of it, and it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. We're wearing many hats, but you know, we do get some help. You know, we do have people working with us. Shout out to Vikal Peterson, who's our attorney, and C. Harvey, who helps us with marketing at the moment, and Elizabeth, who's our volunteer that helps us with programming. You know, so Dee and I get some help with those folks, and then, you know, we have Casifius that helps out with social media. Instagram posting every now and then. But we're thankful for the time that he gives to the festival. Meshel, you know him.
Yes, I do.
That's my son.
We're starting out, it's like these are the growing pains.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going through anything different than Sundance or Tribeca, and they had big names and money behind them.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And we've accomplished a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
It's an incredible festival.
Well, we're gonna be there. I know I'm gonna be in the house. I'm getting my ticket.
I'm gonna
Just one more time. November 6th through the 8th.
Yes.
Okay.
November 6th through the 8th, 12 p.m. Pacific time through 10 p.m. Pacific time. We have, you know, worked on making sure that all the bases are covered for all the different time zones, and, you know, as best as we could. So we schedule things that would enable the East Coasters to come on board and support, and, you know, West Coast and people internationally as well. So it should be a great time to be had by all.
Yay. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us, and just thank you for giving up your time to really shed a light on matters that are just so important, especially in the climate that we're living in right now. It's just so important to shed a light on this. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Thank you. We love you too. Thank you. This is great, guys. Thanks again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.